Hello people of YouTube and welcome to the monthly review of June 2023, or the one I would like to dub the Frank Spectacular. It'll become fairly evident fairly quickly why I would dub this the Frank Spectacular, but before we dive into all of that, here's some motorcycling. Last month I very much complained about how my motorcycle had to go in for service because it was running poorly. So, it's been in service, it was there for 3 weeks. The ride you're watching right now is me picking up my motorcycle from the garage and giving it a very long, extensive test ride back home. The reason you're not hearing me talk from my helmet right now, but instead just hearing me sitting here doing the voiceover, is because I was talking to Frank. Frank wasn't with me or anything. We were talking on our communicators over Discord, over mobile internet, and it was a genuinely remarkably good experience. It worked so well. So I picked up my motorcycle, Frank had started his motorcycle and gone off on a little lap, and we just chatted for 2 hours while I was putting my newly revised motorcycle through its paces. So the reason I brought it in the first place was my valves needed checking, my engine was making weird ticking noises under acceleration, which is never good, and my fork seals were leaking like a faucet. What the garage ended up doing was changing one of the shims in one of the valves, I think, so the valves weren't wildly out of spec, which is good to know. It's a Honda, they're supposed to be reliable. They swapped out the automatic cam chain tensioner, which apparently is a weak part on these very reliable Hondas, so that one was slightly broken on my bike and causing the ticking noise because the cam chain was, I guess, slightly too loose. They overhauled my front suspension, so that isn't leaking anymore, which is an absolute delight. And unfortunately, slightly annoyingly, they also had to replace the front brake pads, even though I just replaced them myself, because they were soaked full of fork oil from the previously mentioned leaking. Anyway, a long wait for all of this to be done later. Frank and I had a delightful chat while riding, and then Frank rode up to us. Just like last year in August, Frank rode his motorcycle up from the Netherlands to here in Trondheim in Norway, which took him about 3 days this time. And the first thing we did when we got here was having a little barbecue. Naturally, the only place that would be good enough for a barbecue for us was Hilvanne, the little lake that we seem to go to every single month. Then, once Frank had been here for 2 days, we set off on our motorcycles together to go down to the cabin. But before that, of course, some preventive maintenance in the form of checking our tire pressure and cleaning our chains. Also, on a side note, I am pretty psyched about this luggage setup. Big red duffel bag on a small red motorcycle. There's just something satisfying about it. Anyway, we rode down to the cabin over the span of 2 days, and the first day went pretty quickly. We did one haul straight to Oppdal, had a bit of lunch, and then rode on to Holungsøy camping. At the campsite we had a slightly ridiculous dinner in the form of pre-prepared supermarket warm food. Back when I lived in Sweden, I used to have food like this every now and then for lunch while at the office, but I've never even really given it any thought for dinner, just grabbing ready-made food that's already warm at the supermarket. But for a road trip like this, where you've arrived after a day of riding to a campsite and you don't really want to bother with cooking, fucking excellent. After a night in a cabin on this campsite, we headed off for the second stretch towards the cabin, which led us over Valdresflya, which has to be one of the most spectacular mountain passes you can find in Norway. And it's only open for the summer season. It's closed off during winter. When we were just over the summit, we found ourselves a restaurant called Bygden. Frank had a burger, I had an open-faced burger type sandwich, and both were absolutely delicious. Then we walked around and hung about for just an hour and a half before setting back off on our bikes and finally getting to the cabin. Wat zijn uw opinies over de reis so far?
Alles is goed.
Hoe voel je je?
Moe. En ik heb net 7 uur op motor gezeten.
Ja, same.
Ja.
Doet je rug zeer?
Nee.
Oké, mijne wel.
Goede motor.
Ik heb geen goede motor. Ik heb een fantastische motor, maar niet hiervoor. Niet om 7 uur achter elkaar op te zitten.
Ja, nee. Niet
Wat is het mooiste wat je vandaag gezien hebt? Mij? Oké, dankjewel. Dat waardeer ik.
Ja. En de uitzichten onderweg waren ook wel oké.
Ja. Ik zou het geloof ik andersom parkeren. In ieder geval over Valdres heen. Waar we 1,5 uur hebben rondgehangen en niks gedaan hebben.
Ja, het stuk daarvoor was top.
Nice. Hebben we een plan voor de komende week?
Nee.
Nee.
En dat is heel goed.
Ja, daar ben ik het mee eens.
Ja. Nee, een beetje dom motorrijden, een beetje wandelen. Vet eten.
Vet eten. Ja, ik denk dat het is ongeveer. Er zijn een aantal grindweggetjes hier in de buurt die ik heel graag af wil raggen. En er is een hoop asfalt wat jij af kan raggen.
Ja.
Ja, laten we zien hoe de week uitpakt. Ik hoop dat het weer een beetje ophelpt. Dat we buiten kunnen grillen en zo. Want het is nu net een beetje sneu.
Ja. Maar top. Hoop ik.
Denk het ook wel. Dank u. Hello, I have been an idiot. I was going to put my GoPro on my chest once again, but unfortunately I forgot to put the SD card in it. So what you're going to get instead is some footage of me pretending to ride this trail and turning back around to pick up the camera. It's going to be a faff, but you'll have something to look at and I'll get to explore this dirt road. How's that sound? Good? I need to wear my sunglasses for this. Also, apologies for my hair looking completely maniacal. It's because of the helmet. It just goes all over the place. Can't really help it. Anyway, that is it for that little bit of idiocy. This is the third time I try to do some riding and talking and showing off where I'm riding, because places in Norway are very lovely and very much worth showing off. So it's nice to strap a GoPro to my chest and just take you out along with me, because it's fun. And interactive and what have you. Except for those 3 times I've been a pillock. I always seem to forget one tiny detail of recording something. Twice now it's been putting an SD card in the GoPro. You'd think I'd start remembering that at this point. And then a couple of months ago I also just straight up forgot to press record when I was test riding that Husqvarna Svartbilen 401, which was great fun, and I wasn't able to share it in the way I wanted. Anyway, we are up on the mountains at the other side of the valley. The cabin is probably just out of frame over thereabouts. We always look at this side of the valley, but we never really go here unless there's snow, and well, I don't really do skiing or snowboarding, but Signe and her family go up all the way here and then yeet themselves off the black slope. Anyway, it is absolutely gorgeous. It is also about 9:15 in the evening, so I should get back because Frank will be getting back as well. He's doing a different lap because his motorcycle is absolutely unsuitable for the road you are sort of seeing in the bottom there. I think I've got some hot chocolate waiting for me at home that I'm very much looking forward to. So even though I wasn't quite able to share this ride in the way I meant to, I'm very happy that I brought that big camera over there and was able to cobble something together. Anyway, to the hot chocolate we go. Aan de andere kant van Sundsvatten.
Ja.
Hoe gaat het met je offroad skills?
Het wordt beter. Ik heb nog steeds absoluut niet de motor ervoor, maar het wordt beter.
Oké. En de hoeveelste dag op reis is dit dat we aan een watertje zitten met instant noodles?
Ik geloof de derde.
Ja, volgens mij ook.
Ja, we hadden... Ja, er zaten 5 van die dingen in en dit is voor jou de laatste en ik had nog eentje extra. Ja, derde dag.
Nice.
Dus, gaat wel goed met ons.
Ja, absoluut.
Ja. Ja.
Gezond. Blij.
Ja.
Wel blij.
Wel blij.
Misschien niet gezond.
Nee, maar blij is belangrijk.
Ja, dat is absoluut waar. Op dit moment wel.
Op dit moment wel. Ja. De rond kan altijd nog.
We'll be healthy when we're dead.
Ja.
Goed, vandaag is de laatste dag bij de cabin. Wat was het hoogtepunt tot nu toe?
Dat is moeilijk, want er zijn best veel van. Zoals...
Welke rondje motorrijden was het beste? Is dat een betere vraag?
Oh, godver. Dat is ook moeilijk. Er zijn er ook veel van.
Ja.
Weet niet. Ik vond de heenweg, die 2 dagen vond ik al fantastisch. En hier... Ja, gisteren was het een prachtig rondje. Ik heb zelf hier een mooi rondje gedaan aan de andere kant van het meer. Dat was eigenlijk allemaal fantastisch.
Nice.
Ja, dus beste rondje, ik heb geen idee. Dat is allemaal prachtig.
Eén van de vele.
Ja.
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 Nice. Oké.
Ja.
We gaan nu zo een poging doen om van een berg af te storten op trikes.
Ja.
Kijken hoe dat bevalt. Ik denk ook wel goed. We stonden gisteren voor een dichte deur. Maar hopelijk vandaag niet.
Dat is het plan.
Dat is het plan. En dan cabin opruimen. Alles aan kant maken. En morgen weer opzouten.
Ja. Ja.
Ja.
En dat is jammer, want dan niet meer cabin. Maar het is mooi, want dan wel weer een mooie weg.
Ja. Ja. Nice.
Zoiets.
I just want to make a note about me riding 2-track, the stuff that you're seeing here. I've never done anything like this before, but it was really quite fun to finally stretch my motorcycle's legs into what it was actually designed for, because the most off-road I've done before is just gravel public roads, which is great in itself. And because of all of these gravel roads we have around here, I get to see the most beautiful areas of this country with very little disturbance of traffic. It's an absolute delight. But my bike was designed for a bit more than just smooth gravel roads. So doing this for the first time, riding some 2-track, was really quite fun and just really cool to see what my bike is capable of, despite the fact that I'm not even remotely capable enough myself to push it properly. So here you're just seeing me ride in for about 1 kilometer and then turning around and heading back. In those 2 kilometers I came across 6 water crossings, which was quite a challenge. And just in general, this was more exhausting than any real exercise I've ever done in my life. But really great fun, and I should also say, exceptional balance practice. Between this little 2-track adventure and Frank and I heading back home, I didn't film that much. But we did go downhill off-road trike riding, which was really good fun. It was in the same place where Sagan and I have done downhill sledding before. But like I said before, I didn't have the SD card for my GoPro with me, so I wasn't able to film it properly. All we have of that adventure is these 2 or 3 iPhone shots. Anyway, after over a week at the cabin, Frank stayed with us for just about another week, waiting for the weather to turn slightly better before he could head down south and for us to go camping one last night during the weekend. For this last little outing, Signe and Saga came with us and we camped out on a field by a lake about 30 minutes south of here. And after a night of camping, Frank started heading home fairly slowly. The moment I'm filming this, it's July the 10th and Frank has made it about halfway down the west coast of Norway, so he's very much taking his time to get down back to the Netherlands. And in just 2 weeks, he's supposed to meet us in Austria. Signe and I will be flying down, Frank will be there on his motorcycle, my dad is coming down in his camper van, and Frank's parents are heading down as well, so it'll be a delightful, nice family reunion by the Weissensee. At least that's the plan. We'll see how that pans out in the monthly review of July 2023. Right, Frank and I are sharing a slightly decadent moment on this here floating pier, which is we are drinking a rather lovely single malt scotch from very inappropriate vessels. This is a stainless steel cup we picked up at a gas station this afternoon. That's a foldable plastic cup. No swanky tumblers for us. Anyway, it is July the 1st, which means June has officially come to an end. Mening over alles. Ik ondertitel het wel.
Oké, nou, 2 goede weken. Ja, goed eten, goed weer, grootste deel van de tijd. Goed motorrijden.
Heel goed motorrijden.
Goed land om er allemaal in te doen.
Yes, absoluut.
En nu ook nog goede whisky.
En nu ook goede whisky, ja, dat helpt. Op dit punt na, wat was het hoogtepunt? Is er 1 moment wat er uitspringt?
Ja, op zich, de eerste avond toen we naar de cabin reden, dat vond ik eigenlijk een hele goede avond. Daar begon het allemaal een beetje. Gewoon heel weinig moeite, heel goed eten. Top weer erbij, mooi uitzicht. Lekker gereden, mooie dingen gezien onderweg.
Ja.
Ik denk dat dat allemaal bij elkaar, dat was wel...
Dat was wel een soort van beginnend hoogtepunt.
Ja.
Een soort van aanduiding van wat de rest van de 2 weken zouden zijn.
Ja.
Ja, ben ik het wel mee eens. Hoe gaan de komende paar weken eruit zien?
Ik donder weer op. Ja, ik ga ergens weer zuidwaarts rijden. We moeten over een week of 3 in Oostenrijk zijn. Gaan we daar kamperen.
Ja, Steven en ik vliegen dan die kant op. En Frank is daar op de motor.
Die staat eerst hier nog.
Die staat eerst hier nu nog.
Dus die moet ergens naar Oostenrijk.
En daar sprong een vis uit het
Ik heb
water.
2 niet gezien.
Dus over 3 weken meten we elkaar 3000 kilometer hier vandaan.
Ja, ongeveer.
Met verschillende voertuigen.
Ja.
Met onze ouders. Wat wel nice is.
Ja.
Oh, hallo. De vissen zijn
Komt dichterbij.
erg actief. Ja.
Ja.
Daarbij laten.
Ik vind het prachtig.
Nice. People of YouTube, thank you ever so much for watching. Don't forget to push one of the positive buttons down below. And we'll see you in the monthly review of July, which will include Austria.
And these people.
Cheers.